I'm Stephen Hooley, and today I want to go through a lesson with you about why you're losing when you're trading in the markets. Okay? So, first, if you haven't already, change your mindset from believing that you lose or fail to I figured out how not to do something or I learned a lesson. Because realistically, failure is a mindset. If you are trying to drive a car and you hit a speed bump, you can choose to never get in a car again. You can choose to be ultra cautious about speed bumps or whatever, or you can choose to not worry about it and just learn how to avoid that speed bump, right? And that applies to anything. Failure is something we learn, but we can shift our mindset to, I hit a speed bump. I just learned not to hit that speed bump. Be more careful, brush it off, no big deal. I figured out that I shouldn't hit speed bumps, right? Lots of ways you can change failure or losing into a whole different perspective. That's just concept number one, okay? So, second, in regards to Forex trading, the market is designed to transfer money from those who don't know what they're doing into the accounts of those who do. Think of it like this. It's like a game of chess. You've got multiple different players, almost like a game of chess, but with many different players. Multiple games of chess going on, and each game is competing against each other. It's complex. It's crazy, right? So maybe, aside from just chess, you think about it also like a battleground. You have the titans of the financial industry all across the world competing with each other, trying to outdo each other, manipulate each other, manipulate all the small fish in the sea so that all the bigger fish can eat lavishly, or at least they can eat lavishly, right? They want their meal ticket. In other words, the odds are against you without you even starting to trade. They're already against you. 3, you're human. That in itself is both powerful and destructive. Powerful because human discretion and cognition can be powerful in trading. Powerful. But emotions, undereducation, lack of logical thinking can sometimes be, and other human flaws can sometimes be destructive when trading. It's the truth. So touching on the human flaw aspect, I want to mention what I like to call the gambling effect people experience when trading in the retail markets. Because human flaw, we've already just mentioned, can cause losses, right? But there's a very particular kind of human flaw that occurs more often than not when trading in the markets, especially with new traders. Professional traders can get caught up in this as well, but more often than not, you got to professional trading by learning discipline, by getting the right knowledge, by doing things that get you to the point where the gambling effect doesn't affect you as much anymore, okay? So like I said, this is more often going to ring true with newer traders who just aren't profitable yet. If you're consistently profitable, some of these pieces might ring true to you and some of this might help you, but my assumption is that this message is going to resonate the loudest with the newer guys or the guys who aren't making consistent money in trading, okay? So, to start off, let me talk about something the brain has called a reward system. And I want to touch on this before I get into what I call the gambling effect, because the reward system leads into it. So, let's talk about what happens in the brain when you're receiving something you perceive as valuable or something that activates specific structures in your brain, causing what is perceived as positive stimulation. What I'm referring to is, like I said, your brain's reward system. Most people commonly associate this to drug addicts, alcoholics, etc. People with addictive behaviors or have a naturally addictive personality, right? But most people don't consider that you don't have to be a drug abuser. You don't have to be an alcoholic to stimulate your brain's reward system. You don't have to have an addictive personality to stimulate your reward system. If that was true, nobody would be feeling euphoria. This can happen with something as simple as food, human intimacy, and so on. There's a lot of things that stimulate your reward system that cause you to feel happy and euphoric and good. So, this is where we talk about what happens when your brain's reward system is stimulated. Like I just mentioned, we experience a feeling called euphoria, right? People who have a naturally addictive personality tend to often fall into trouble with this. That's no secret. I'm sure plenty of people have heard stories. But like I said, people without addictive personalities can still end up wanting to chase that feeling of euphoria. And sometimes that takes people who previously didn't really have an addictive personality and they develop that. And sometimes people without addictive personalities are able to control this and it's no problem. Regardless, all of this is just a natural human function. However, when you enter things such as gambling that specifically play right into the brain's reward systems, when you think about it like this, when you win in gambling, you're euphoric. It just takes a few wins to stimulate that reward system in your brain and cause you to keep repeating whatever actions that's causing that euphoric feeling. Pressing a button, pulling a lever, seeing the numbers spin, whatever it is. Once you get that euphoric feeling a few different times, you're going to want to keep repeating it. It's a natural human function because you just want to keep feeling it. So, this could be slot machines, this could be whatever machine, it doesn't really matter, right? Natural human functions. But often, what happens is when you start losing, you'll ignore it because you're busy chasing that euphoria. You're excited. This is fun, right? It's still fun. And this is a very simple basis to how addiction can start, literally. There's gambling addictions, smoking addictions, alcohol addictions, drug addictions, money addictions, sex addictions. There's all sorts of kinds of addictions, right? And just going through that little process I outlined is part, I know it's very complex, but it's part of how that starts in people. And over time, in specific regards to gambling, because that's what we're leading up to with trading, over time, when you lose enough, you climb through various levels of sadness once the euphoria finally goes away, right? You climb through various levels of sadness, despair, and despondency. And this varies on different factors and varies with different people. Some people can handle more loss. Some people can't handle loss at all. Risk appetites, all sorts of stuff, right? But eventually, the people who can't get really good at gambling and professionally live off of it reach some kind of emotional devastation for their personal emotions, because everybody's got a little different level before they reach that point, where they will still chase the euphoria, but they will start doing crazy things to chase that euphoria. Drug addicts will steal, harm people, etc. Sometimes, not all of them. That's not meant to be a general statement, but gamblers will start selling things, take out loans, make bad deals, all to just get money to keep gambling. You've seen movies about this, right? You've seen movies about this. Plenty of stories out there. So I'm sure you can think about the different stories that fit this, right? So how does the reward system and gambling relate to Forex specifically? Let's start to dive in a little more. Think about when you enter your first trade, if you have, at least, by this point. It's exciting, right? It's exciting. Watching those numbers go up and down, watching the charts go up and down, especially when there's volatility and movement in the markets, oh man, it's great. It's great, right? You're euphoric, especially when you win big. When you win big, man, you're at the top of the world. And at first, just like gambling, the losses don't matter because you're caught up in the excitement of it all. Eventually, there reaches a point, just like with gambling though, that unless you learn how to win all the time, the negative emotions just finally seep in just enough And you figure out things like big wins don't happen as much very often. They're not as common, right? You figure out winning isn't so common. Winning can be challenging, just like in gambling. And eventually, the euphoria starts to die, right? That euphoria starts to die. The losses happen more frequently, and negative emotions grow stronger within us. And what I'm getting at is that to the inexperienced, trading Forex is very similar to gambling at a casino. And this is what I call the gambling effect in Forex. And to give a more realistic explanation, most new traders come into the market with anywhere from $20 to, say, $100 or maybe $200, right? A couple $100. It's pretty common for people to place a trade also with a lot size that's too big for their account, either because they don't know any better or because of greed. Just like you might bring $100 to Vegas, right? You might bring $100 to Vegas and not knowing any better, you might bet 20 of it and then lose it all. Or you might bet another 40 and you might win, and thus starts the process of that gambling effect. Same thing. You're going to start with a 0.01 lot or a 0.2 lot or whatever, and because you're new, it's cool, and chances are you're on a demo account, which there's no difference between the reward system in your brain going off with demo accounts or live accounts, other than live accounts often cause that real negative feeling because it's your real money, whereas you can emotionally distance yourself from demo account money because it's not real, and you know that, right? So this is often caused by what? This is often caused by greed in humans, right? That human factor, that third factor I talked about. The fact that you're human is both powerful, destructive. And that greed drives us to want to bet 20 or bet 40. Why? Because we want more. We all want more. Well, if you gamble at a casino, does any of this sound familiar yet? If you've gambled at a casino and traded, this should start sounding familiar. Now, $100 might be a lot in a casino. $200 might be a lot in a casino. $500 might be a lot in a casino. But in the real trading world, $100, $200, $500 is not very big. It's not a big balance. It's not a big account. And you're only able to use small balances, low balances, because of the leverage that brokers give you in the retail Forex trading industry. Now, when trading a smaller account, you ideally want trades to go straight into profit, right? Minimal drawdown, which requires precision entry skills that most people don't even have. Even good traders have a hard time. I bet you may not know that banks definitely don't have precision skills most of the time. Most of the time, they use very wide stop losses, big targets, but because they have big money, they can swing it all they need to. They have all the margin room they need, and plus various other factors, right? Now, we know that instant profits just isn't realistic. If there was instant profits in something, whoever it was would be, filthy, filthy, filthy rich. Or dead, But nevertheless, with a $100 balance, in my opinion, and I'm not a financial advisor, so this is just my opinion, but in my opinion, with $100, you'd only want to use, say, a 0.01 lot, unless you're awesome with entries, right? Unless you're awesome with entries, like we talked about, you're probably only going to want to use low lot sizing. But if you're awesome with entries, why are you only trading with $100? Usually people who are good trade with a lot more because they know they can make it. That's besides the point, because furthermore, most people who place a 0.01 lot on a $100 balance quickly figure out that they will only make pennies, maybe dollars, on a decent trade. And just like some people at a casino want to play penny slots at first to try to maybe dip their feet in if they're new, or they don't want to spend a lot of money, they want to be kind of conservative, you quickly figure out, if you don't already know, penny slots usually don't make you a lot of money. Same with Forex. Trading those low lot sizes, your brain quickly figures out this isn't making me a lot of money, and that greed again kicks in, causes you want to make more money, right? Well, it doesn't usually help when the greed kicks in and you start upping the lot sizes to 0.02, 0.03, 0.05, and before you know it, you're placing 0.10 and 0.20, and those are high lot sizes for a $100 balance. Those lot sizes, what happens is when the market swings, that balance doesn't have very much margin space. Doesn't have very much margin space, free margin, anything. Plus, depending on your broker, you have margin call levels. So if you hit the margin call levels, the trade's immediately dead, decreasing your account balance. Now you've automatically got a smaller account because you over leveraged, you used too big of a lot size, you're not using what we call good risk management. And like I said, your account can't handle those movements. So it's not just a big enough account to handle larger lot sizes that you need. Because sometimes there's other variables, right? Sometimes you had a high lot size and the trade was a good one and it did go into profit, but those emotions get in the way, right? There's so many variables. I mean, put it this way, at the casino, there's servers who will bring you free alcohol, right? Free alcohol, and they'll give you good tips and anything to keep you gambling. You have brokers who do similar things. They will teach you education and give you tools that everybody uses to create a common standard across the board that makes retail traders predictable and manipulatable. Not to mention, if you have a B-book broker who does manipulate, just like a casino, they have plenty of other ways to manipulate the inexperienced, plenty of other ways. The house is always against you because the house always wants to win, right? So you pair that with the newbie greed, the undereducation that I just talked about, using lot sizes to try to get more because you quickly figure out low lot sizes don't make you a lot of money. You pair that with fear of missing out on trades, a common newbie practice of stacking multiple trades, which when I talked about that account part where you have margins and free margins and call levels and everything, too many trades makes you hit that faster. And if you don't just blow some trades, you can blow the whole account. So you've got all of these things, and you've got revenge trading to try to make up mistakes, all these other problems. And you have a recipe for disaster. Now, these trading practices, similar to gambling practices, are often what lead people to start complaining about losses, or how they say they win some of the time and lose some of the time, but they just aren't profitable. Right? This is what leads some people to just go to Vegas and have fun gambling, but they don't take it seriously. They don't ever try to be professional because in their mind, they're not going to win money. They're just going for fun. Okay, that's fine, right? And then you have some people who blame the broker when you're trading, when it's really not the broker's fault. Just like a gambler might blame the casino. Even then, some people call gambling a scam. Some people call Forex a scam. Others quit and think they can't be good at trading just like they quit and never gamble again, right? Some can get convinced that you can't make money in gambling and you can't make money in trading. There's lots of similarities. There's lots of silly conclusions that people make when they don't win a lot of money when they first start out in something. This could be gambling, trading, Facebook ads, a lot of things, right? People have a hard time considering that the problem might be them. The problem might be you. That's not a natural thing for people to consider, right? And sometimes that's hard. And even those who consider this are often in emotional chaos from losses. They're confused and they lack a sense of direction to be profitable. And so it wouldn't matter even though this is a natural thing, or it's not a natural thing to consider that you're the problem because you're so confused, your head's swimming, everything's a mess. And then you have scammers that dive in and take advantage of people at this point and just make it much worse. You have the manipulation going on. I mean, like I said, everything's stacked against you. So the one thing I do want to say is, amidst all of that I just named, growing a small account is absolutely doable, just like growing a big account is doable. Just like there are professional gamblers who literally make a living off of gambling. Right? There are gamblers who make a living off of gambling. There are poker players who do it for a living. Trading in the spot Forex market doesn't have to be gambling. You can do it for a living. I have seen people grow big accounts and I have seen people grow small accounts with the right knowledge, discipline, and tools. Usually, however, there was a lot that made it possible for them to be able to succeed to grow that bigger or that smaller account. For example, one thing you can't be worried about is money. On a smaller account, you can't be worried about the money. You've got to be conscious of the risks. You've got to be conscious of the lots. You've got to be conscious of how you're trading because the account's smaller. Think about it this way. A market moves 20 pips and you have a smaller balance. That money that's gained or in drawdown against you means more than if the market moves 20 pips on a $10,000 account with a bigger balance, right? So, plus you have, like I said, those smaller accounts that can't handle the swings and everything, the margins and everything that I talked about. The only way you would lose significant amounts of money if you do use good risk management, like say 0.01 lot on a $100 account, is if the market made too big of moves in the opposite direction that you were speculating on, which happens. There are news events and different things where the market makes huge moves that even small risk on small accounts can destroy things. Even on big accounts sometimes if it's bad enough, right? But, even then again, usually greed causes people to hold on to those bad trades. It causes them to hold on to the bad practices because they just want to make money, and causes people to get bold or stupid or use bigger lots, right? Sometimes, though, it isn't even greed. At least, it's not always greed causing you to lose all those losses. Sometimes a new trader will execute a trade with a decent lot size and a good entry, but let fear cause them to exit out of a decent trade before it has a chance to be profitable. Why? Well, because the market moved too far into drawdown and they didn't have the confidence to hold it. This is usually caused by a lack of education. A lot of things can be caused by lack of education. Not always, though. Sometimes, like I said, it's not the education, it's not the strategy, it's you. At the same time, though, we're talking about smaller accounts, and some people might be concluding right now that, okay, I need a bigger account. Well, that's not necessarily true, because if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to lose a lot, whether it's a small account or a big account, right? Just like some of your friends will call you crazy if you say you're going to take several thousands to a casino expecting to win, and you're kind of inexperienced. Unless you've proven you can take a lot of money and make more money, chances are it's a bad idea to do something like that. That's a flawed conclusion. Plus, losing a lot of money will usually set people into a crazy emotional chaos most of the time. It will cause them to lose more, revenge trade, all sorts of things. Bottom line, it can cause people to lose a lot more or do even crazier things in life. So this is why I believe that you need to learn good risk management, invest in good education, and develop the right mindset. Because mindset can be 80% of good trading, profitable trading. 80%. Some might even say 90. That's a lot. That's a lot. But almost all of the new traders I know lack the proper mindset. So 80 to 90% of their trading, they don't have down or right or the proper mindset, right? But with the proper mindset, with good education, with good risk management, trading not only becomes easier, but you build that confidence. That's important. Think about it this way. Without good risk management, and you need all three, by the way, without good risk management, the proper mindset and education wouldn't matter. Without education, good risk management and mindset won't matter. You need all three. The problem is that unfortunately most gurus in industries, whether it's ads, e-commerce, forex, whatever, most gurus only teach you pieces of certain things, either because they don't know better, they don't know enough, they only know those pieces, so they're only teaching you those pieces in hopes you'll pay them and they make off with your money, right? Or they don't care, or whatever. Whatever the combo, it's common that most gurus will only teach you pieces of things you need to know. It's harder to find, especially with scammers abundant everywhere, it's harder to find people who have a well-rounded knowledge and are able to effectively teach that, because you have some brilliant people who know a lot, but they're not even effective teachers. So you have good people too, not just scammers, good people with a lot of knowledge that can help you, but they don't know how to effectively teach you. Plus, you pair everything I've talked about, right? Everything I've talked about with the market literally being designed to take your money, trick you, manipulate you, cause you to be emotional, and just in a general sense, not be designed to be easy to make money. Like I keep saying, the odds are against you from the start. But if you can arm yourself with good education, keep good risk management practices, and develop a good mindset, a bigger account can actually make trading a lot easier. I just warned you about, hey, don't just dive in to a big account if a small account's not working out. But if you can arm yourself with all the right tools, a big account can make trading easier for you. Think about it. Rather than small movements of 0.01 lots on $100 accounts making pennies or dollars, smaller movements start to make you more. So 10 pips starts to mean more on a bigger account, right? Not even with big, huge lots. 10 pips just means more on a bigger account with more money than it does on a smaller account with less money. Same lots. And so with enough practice and consistency, you can actually start to live off of those smaller movements on a bigger account. The alternative, though, which is mandatory for people who just don't have the money, is that you need to use proper risk management for your smaller account if you want to consistently profit. There's just no getting around that. You're also going to have to learn to accept that you're going to have a harder time making money with a smaller account if that's what you choose, or if that's what's mandatory. It will take time to do what we call compounding on a smaller account's profits to get into a decent sized account that you can effectively make that money you're chasing, which takes discipline, control, and practice, but it is doable. You can't fall for the gambling effect. You can't. The gambling effect will destroy you. Just like it makes it harder in gambling, well, it makes it harder in trading too. But my hope is that with this education, with all this information most people lack, this will help you. And just remember that the right education, mindset, and practices, trading goes from gambling to educated speculation. That speculation can make you a ton of money.